So at the time being 6:02 p.m., we'll call the meeting to order. And thank you all for attending. This is going to be our last meeting, or should be our last meeting. The primary purpose is to basically approve the final draft of the master plan. So first I'll do the roll call, since it is a Zoom meeting, so we'll do a roll call by name. Ashley?
Here.
And Carrie?
Here.
Andrew?
Here.
Janet?
Here.
Jen?
Here.
Glenn?
I'm here.
Mike?
Here.
And Katie?
Here.
And myself here. So that gives us a quorum with 9 out of 12 attending. So thank you again for all attending this very important meeting. So you should have received the final copy of the master plan. It was very similar. The only changes that were made were the ones that were submitted by people to Patrick as per our last meeting, and he did send, or Lauren sent Lauren sent put them together in a Word document and sent them to Judy, and she updated them as far as I can see. I had a couple of changes that, and we're really the only changes we're looking for are just really more typo changes, is just things that are important to make in the. So I did send her an email. I added the votes, the dates of all the votes. There were some votes in the section on implementation that didn't have the dates when the votes occurred. So I asked her to add those dates. I can send that to you if you want to see what those were. And then the second thing is, we had discussed at the last meeting of numbering the implementation actions. So I did ask if we couldn't do that, because otherwise when we reference them going forward, when any other board references them, it'll be a lot easier to have a discrete number. So those are only two things that I saw. And again, we're not looking to change, we voted on all the recommendations, all of the implementation actions. But just want to, is there anyone has any questions about it, or has any comments or anything that you saw that you want to bring to our attention? Jen?
So I wasn't going to do a thorough thing, but when the first page I looked at had a typo. Should I just send you an email with all the things that I found? It's not changing any words. It's just missing a space. You're not consistent like with your returns and things like that. So that was and I also noticed the thing about the dates. And then I don't know if it was just my version, but a lot of the figures when they got blown up are like, now they're illegible. Did anybody else have that problem, or is it my computer?
I did as well.
So I can
not have that problem, but I don't know. It could be a copy of the version of Acrobat Reader, or it's hard to know. But I did not see that problem. Did others not see the problem too?
My only concern, if I don't want to interrupt, but
yep.
Because of the short time frame we had, I'm not worried about the content. Just to Jen's point about the proofreading. So this has got our name stamped all over it. And if we're going to publish it and get it out there, I want to make sure it's right. I did not get through every page since we got it. And I just don't know if we should, do one last edit. I got probably, 3/4 of the way through, but I didn't get through everything. So that being said, I don't know how everyone else feels about that.
Right.
I think it's important that it's accurate. And I'm not the best person to be editing grammar, but I don't know how everyone feels about that.
My suggestion.
There's also like formatting stuff that could be polished up a little bit more.
I think it should be.
Yeah, I mean, this is a 20-year document, right? So
yeah.
I think it should be too, and I would suggest that it's not the committee's responsibility to do that work by any means.
Yes. Judy had told me she was going to have somebody go through it again to look at all the typos. So I did look through some of it myself. As you said, it is a fairly lengthy document. So I did not see anything in my spot checks, but if you're noticing things, certainly we want to fix everything that's there. Is it possible that we could do a vote on accepting it pending fixing typos? Just trusting that typos are really exactly what that is, formatting or missing punctuation or spacing. And then we could work with Judy to go through this one more time, and then I would invite everyone to look through it. Is that?
I think though, more to the point of what was just said, they were hired to do this. They got paid a lot of money. And I think it's great if we put our 2 cents in on the editing, but the ultimate editing should be on them. They should be going through it with fine tooth comb. So I have no objection to looking through it and trying to find everything, but I think that is on them as far as the, getting it 100% correct.
Although that's one of those things where if we don't say we found things, then they're going to say it all, is all good. So I think we have to.
Well, I was going to say, Phil, I'd echo Katie's point. I mean, that's the thing is this board it's supposed to be providing local knowledge, especially when it goes to, the sections that go over the background information for the town, everything like that, and reviewing the action items. I have the same issue with my tables as well. I don't know what's going on there. I think it's an InDesign issue, but it needs to be fixed. I mean, I like to see a version that's completely done, and I don't know if it's looking different on their end or.
Yeah, give me an example one. Just want to make sure, because I didn't see a problem. So which give me just out of curiosity, Patrick.
Let's go to
Page.
Page
On the
8.
table, like
Page 10 of the PDF.
Page 8.
Page 8.
I mean, they're smattered throughout the document.
Page 8, 10.
Hold on. 78.
Yeah, and what was the problem on page 8?
The table, it's some of it
Sorry.
or it's hard to read. It's
Can I share my screen? Would that be helpful?
Yeah, so I don't have a problem on page 8. That's why.
So like, see how
Yep.
it's
Yeah.
very pixel. It looks like it's from 1997.
Yeah, I can't read it.
Let me show you my screen because I don't have a problem. So that's
Interesting.
hold on here. Do I have this?
Well,
But
that means that the document probably isn't compatible with certain.
software.
Yeah, Phil, you have InDesign, right?
Yeah, I did, but I opened it up as a PDF.
Yeah.
I have Acrobat. I have the professional version of the Adobe Creative Suite of products. I don't know if that makes a difference.
Well, it makes a difference to the average Joe that's going to read.
Yeah,
it.
no, it's a problem. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why she used it. I mean, InDesign was this, that was something that they just did. So, well, certainly we need to fix it. We can't have the whole reason for doing a PDF is because it's a fairly a universal formatting language and it should display everywhere. So people are having a problem. That is a problem. So, John?
So I don't know if it's an InDesign thing, but I really don't like the way that the lines break. I can understand if you're trying to do it for spacing, but like I'm on page 2. If you look at the third bullet point, it doesn't fit on one line, I guess, but it says appreciates and protects its natural resources. And the hyphen is between the C and resources and the ES on a second line. It's just throughout the document, it has very strange hyphenating. And I can understand if you're trying to do it to fit into space, but it's also like, we don't really have a page count. So I don't know. I tried to bring that up in my last edit too, or be like, RY would be on a totally separate line. And it's just not where I was taught in grammar, where you put the hyphen on words.
Yeah, and like page 93, the paragraph just starts with ERN, and the other page I think says modern. I think the word is, but it's split between separate pages, which is
that's a problem.
Oh, it's east dash, and then you go to the next page and you get earn.
Yeah.
So little things like that I think should be cleaned up.
So we can definitely go back to Judy and ask her to go through this and clean it up, and maybe we need to have a discussion about what the format should be, because it has to be a format that, as people know, it needs to be readily available, so people can print it whatever software they have, and that's the whole reason for doing PDFs. So
that could definitely be an issue on if they're up to date on their end. they're not seeing what we're seeing because
Yeah, well, so like I said,
But that's-
I don't see any problems with the tables, so, yeah.
yeah.
You have the,
Also, like,
right? You have the high.
what's weird is I have PDF Pro and so I don't know why I'm also having that issue. And just another small thing, not to be super nitpicky, but the way that the maps are laid out, like I feel like they should be centered a little bit better. Like it's the tippy top of Walpole is basically like cut off.
Well,
Um,
And then the legends, like the maps are sideways and the
Yeah.
legends are sideways. So turn the legends. It's okay that the map's sideways, but you can't read the legends.
Yeah, I think we
Right.
brought this up at the last meeting as well, and I can't remember if it's because they put it in landscape or whatnot, but I know usually when you have a PDF that has a map, the map will be to scale, and so you'll scroll through the PDF and it'll blow up and you can actually
Yeah.
see it totally.
like if it was the right way, exactly, like you could zoom in anyways, whereas now you're gonna have to like know to counterclockwise rotate each map and
Yeah,
go from there. So I think that could be fixed.
Oh,
It's an
I just
image.
wanna say on page, I'm sorry, I have to say, on page 78, I have a table that's not formatted correctly, so that was one. So I think we need to go back to Judy then, and we do need to fix the problem. Also, I wasn't sure why she did landscape instead of portrait for the, because all the drafts we had gotten up to the one prior to this were portrait. So unfortunately, Judy was supposed to join us tonight, and unfortunately, she said she could not make it for other meetings. That's a problem too. So I was hopeful that we could approve, but I don't want to push approving or doing the final approval if we're not comfortable with the formatting of the report and with the fact that there are still a lot of typos and formatting problems. So she did tell me by email that she was having somebody go through it to look for typos. And that's what she had said when she sent her email on Thursday. I think it was Thursday, Patrick, when she sent the.
no, that's right. I mean, I think we've gotten comments to her that we received, and we had the last meeting, which I thought, we tried to cover everything really. Everything that seems to be showing up now is it's
same.
formatting issues. It's how it's presented. Those are things that are somewhat subjective, but I think we all are in agreement that things that are being brought up are like to see that corrected. So I think.
Could I make a suggestion?
Yes.
What if the committee were to vote to approve subject to the changes that we've all described? And I wonder if we could designate Patrick as sort of the person that could give the okay on the formatting and spacing piece. It seems like Patrick, you've got a pretty solid handle on it. And I don't think we need necessarily 12 people to all agree that to review the formatting and spacing and agree that it's okay. How does that sound?
Yeah,
And I would also do that, I think, with Patrick.
Yeah.
Patrick,
Yeah.
are you
I probably
still-
want to go over it with Phil and Katie at least. as
Right,
well.
sure.
And
I
Patrick,
personally-
are you back though? That's only, I don't want to impose on you.
Technically back Monday, but I can still talk to Judy and get.
Okay,
comments.
okay, just as long if it's Monday, then that's not, okay.
So
Right.
even
I
if we
definitely don't want to impose on your leave at all, Patrick. So
No, all good.
Can I
I
just,
just, if I
So-
could just say something too, sorry, Katie.
no, you go
I
ahead. I'll go after you.
Okay, I think Jen has certainly had a good eye to this, so perhaps she should be involved before we approve anything. Once it's approved, I don't know whether or not.
So I personally think it should come back to us. I really do.
I
know
agree.
the pain. I know everyone wants to be done with this. And no offense to Judy and her crew, but I think that they are done with us. And I
I
think they've done the hard part for them. And this is just the editing part. And I just want to make sure everyone has eyes on it. Everyone's name is attached to this. We put a lot of time in. I know it's been painful. I know we want to cut the cord, but I just think that we should hang on in there and take a final glance and make sure it's 100% before we just say, okay. And I think Pat has, you know, Pat's busy right now, and I think he will be back at work, but I think he's going to be playing catch up, and he's got a lot on his plate. And I think that his input's been great, and we want to have him in on this part of it, definitely. But I don't think we should put it all on his plate.
Yeah, no, the model we were trying to do at the very beginning was to, or when we started reviewing it, was to have each of the work groups, the subcommittees who were responsible for a section, to read through it. And I think that model worked out well because it makes sure that the whole document, if we really want to examine it ourselves, that makes sure that it really gets read. But it may not really take that degree of scrutiny, but we definitely want to fix all of the typos.
And then maybe the last thing that I want to bring up, just from an appearance thing, and I hope this isn't too nitpicky, but the use of space on each of the pages is a little bit, it's not really consistent throughout the presentation. Like sometimes the pages are full and there's a graph that, you know, fits in nicely. And then sometimes there's a picture that's smaller than the rest of the page and there's a lot of white space. Like, and then if you look at like page 81 is a kind of a weird example. Let me get back to it, but it kind of looks like the graphic, like the chart was put in, and then all of the, it looks really weird to me. It like just looks like the chart was put in and all the text was kind of around it. And then sometimes there's a really small picture and the text still goes around it, even though there's plenty of space to kind of fill it in.
Yeah, no, actually that looks like it was, the text goes almost, it looks like going too close to the chart in a way. It does look a little funny.
And it's just not consistent. Sometimes the tables are bigger and the text wraps around, but it should flow or be consistent.
Well, so I guess I'm getting a sense that we want to leave it open and not prove it tonight.
Yep.
Is that what people are looking for?
Yes.
We won't do a vote unless people really want to, unless someone's not good with that.
I'd rather not.
I agree.
But I think we will make sure that, you know, so working with Patrick and with Katie and whoever else wants to be involved, I do want to make sure though that it's just not just all of us we're looking at it and not really having somebody really making sure that we you know, look through the whole thing. So see, because it's very easy all of us to, you know, be busy and not really get to do the fine checking that we like.
I think that the point is that people are comfortable with the content. There's no issue over, well, we want to change these things. I think that people took a look and within 5 minutes found more than 10 issues and said, this is not ready for prime time. And so I think we want to kick it back for them to really look it over, right? This is not a graduate school project. This is a 20-year plan for the town.
And it's really up to them to fix it. I mean, I think, and really to find all the errors. But but it may need us to help do that. It looks like. So,
should we send Laura our changes again? Lauren, sorry.
Yeah, although I'd almost rather put it back to them.
I would say
have them do another version of this and go through and fix everything.
I wouldn't say individual comments. I think some of the general comments that have been brought up tonight are all things that they need to take a look at. You know what I mean? Maybe not every individual typo, but like, hey, look at the maps, look at the spacing. These are things that we're finding that aren't really, they're not cohesive for what we want to have for a final product.
Yeah, so
that kind of puts it back on them.
I think, Patrick, we should have a meeting with Judy and go through this. I am disappointed she wasn't here tonight because she was supposed to be, and that would have made this, it would have facilitated this whole process too if she had been here.
So Phil, if we have specific changes, can we, because I'm going to be annoyed if she doesn't pick up the changes that I've highlighted.
Yeah, no, if you have specific changes and people want to send them, you can send them to Lauren and Patrick. Why don't you send to both of them? And to me, but just know that I think that we're not looking that we need to find all the changes. That we're not putting the burden on the committee to have to read this through and find every change, every typo.
Right.
Yeah.
Formatting.
And hopefully there's some generic things. I mean, whatever, how they're using InDesign with generating the PDF and so forth, maybe that's not working well and may need to change that or something, I don't know.
So Phil, let's not let this meeting happen again. Meaning, when we circulate the next draft, before we put a meeting on the calendar for 12 or 13 people, let's give each of us an opportunity to see the report and say, hey, there's just too many typos. We need to have them look at it again. In other words, like, let's book this meeting when we know we're done with all the editorial small potato stuff. And then we can vote on the substance of it and sign off.
Yeah, I think what happened was we were trying to push this through because we were trying to make a May 4th meeting with the planning board. And that was because of the schedule of Judy. So there was this whole, and I think we weren't expecting, and I was going to compare it back to, I don't have that, the earlier version of this, right? Oh, I do actually have it right here. But we were not, I don't think we were expecting that the formatting errors were, so that were there are so many of them, and that didn't seem to come up with that's why I was going to look back at the document, the one we first made the check for it. But I agree with you. So we don't want to have another meeting unless we're ready to go forward with it. And so that's where we are. So that's the next step, is to talk to Judy. If people want to send their comments, general comments, please do send them to Patrick and to Lauren and myself. We'll set up a meeting with Judy. We won't schedule another meeting. And we're just trying to move this forward a little bit faster because we've had a lot of delays that haven't been our part. So, and then the other thing is, again, I think we're all good with the content. So that's the most important part of this. So I hate to see the report being delayed a long time for just formatting problems. So we were definitely trying to push this through with Judy, getting her to respond faster to coming up with the new version. So.
And Phil, maybe they could just send you their InDesign file and you can go in there.
Well, I offered that.
Make the changes.
Just, I offered that in an email this morning, by the way, because it was very frustrating to me not to see the implementation steps numbered, because that is so awkward. How do you ever speak to somebody about, this is we want to change, we want to implement this particular recommendation, and they have to define which one it is. And in our meetings, when we do all of our votes, we always voted by the number of the recommendation. So as you might have, if you noticed the document I sent out for the last meeting, I actually went through and added all of the numbers we've been using that when we did our votes, so at least you could cross-reference back to votes. So I was expecting her to add those numbers. We had talked about it in the last meeting, and that didn't happen. So, yeah. So let's do that. I don't know. I think we became orphans somehow here on this. So, anyways, and then we have another thing order of business. I do want to accept the minutes. We have 2 meeting minutes to accept.
Yeah.
So I do want to do that. Is there any other discussion though on what we're going to do with the master plan? So
Sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. There's no reason for a vote on that. We're just going to go do it. And Lauren had sent out the meeting minutes for October 25th, and we'll do the vote. We'll do it separately just in case, depending when people are at meetings. That way you can you can vote accordingly whether you were there or not. So I'll look for a motion to approve the meeting minutes for October 23rd, 2022. And I'll make the motion. Does it a second?
Second,
Second. Thank you, Katie. And we need to do a roll call vote.
Just to be clear,
Oh, yeah.
October 25th, or is that what you said? October 25th?
October 25th, the meeting minutes for October 25th.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Ashley,
Abstain.
Carrie,
Yes.
Andrew,
Abstain.
Janet,
Yes,
Jen,
Yes.
Glenn,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Katie,
yes.
and myself, yes. So that would be 702. Accepted, voted yes. And then a motion to accept the minutes from April 4th, 2023. And I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second,
Okay, so thank you, Katie. So Ashley,
Abstain.
Carrie,
Yes.
Andrew,
Yes.
Janet,
yes,
Jen,
Yes.
Glenn,
Abstain.
Mike,
Abstain.
Katie,
yes.
and myself, yes. So that would be 603 voted yes. Is there any other comments or any that people want to make before we adjourn the meeting?
Thanks, Pat, for coming, and get some sleep.
yeah,
Try.
I'm about 20 years.
Yeah, come, we at least 18 or more. But thank you.
Yeah, no, sorry about the, this, we're not able to go forward, that we do have these issues, but we will.
No, I think, Phil, you put up a good point too. I think the last time at our meeting, we were thinking of trying to get before the planning board in a certain time frame, and that's why we kind of rushed this. But Andrew brought up a good point as well. I don't want to waste anybody's time
Yeah,
looking at something that we shouldn't have to tell the consultant. So hopefully we'll correct this before we meet again.
I think the thought at the time was that there was just maybe some typos, people would go through and find them, and it would be very straightforward. I have to confess, I've been traveling the last few weeks, so I haven't really myself looked through it as much as I would have liked to. So, so that's where we are. So, but let us go forward and, let's get this next step done. I mean, it's really just a very simple thing that they should be able to do, and we should be able to move on. And it also recognizes the good work that they did. So it represents the town, and also it represents what they're doing. And we're certainly appreciative of all the work they have done. So we want this to come out to be good for all of us, but particularly for the town. So would someone like to do a motion and to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Janet. So Ashley,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
Andrew,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes,
Jennifer,
Yes.
Glenn,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
and myself, yes. So that's 900. It passes. So the meeting is adjourned. Again, thank you all for attending. Sorry that we didn't make more progress. We will, Patrick will schedule a meeting when we're ready at that next step. So thank you all. Have a good night.
thank you.
Thanks,
Good
Phil. Good
Thanks,
night.
everyone.
Everybody.
Good to
Bye.
see you all.
Bye.